All right, team, let's get down to business. We're talking about something that hits close to home for anyone who's ever picked up a weight, anyone who's ever strived to be bigger, stronger, better. It's about the iron, the sweat, the dedication. But sometimes, that fire, that relentless drive can push individuals into uncharted territory. Some bodybuilders push their bodies beyond the limit, chasing an ideal that can become an obsession. A dangerous pursuit where the lines between ambition and self-destruction get blurred, real blurry. We've all seen the magazine covers, the godlike physiques, the sheer mass and definition that seem almost superhuman. But what happens when the quest for that ultimate form takes a dark turn? We're going to pull back the curtain today, not to judge, but to understand the immense pressures and the extreme lengths some will go to. We're talking about transformations that are shocking, awe-inspiring, and sometimes truly heartbreaking. These are stories of incredible discipline, yes, but also of devastating consequences when things go too far. So, buckle up. This isn't just about muscles and poses. This is about the human spirit, its incredible capacity for dedication, and its vulnerability. We're diving deep into the lives of individuals who chased extremity, and we're going to look at the lessons we can all learn from their journeys. It's about respect, it's about understanding, and it's about knowing where the limit truly lies. Let's get into it. First up, we've got to talk about a name that sends shivers down the spine of many in the bodybuilding world. Greg Valentino. This isn't a story for the faint of heart, let me tell you. Greg wasn't just aiming for big. He was aiming for something beyond comprehension, something that defied the natural limits of the human body, and he paid a heavy, visible price for it. His pursuit of enormous biceps became a cautionary tale whispered in gyms worldwide. Valentino's journey into the extreme wasn't an overnight thing. Like many, he started with a passion for lifting, for sculpting his physique. But somewhere along the way, the conventional methods weren't enough. He wanted more, much more. He turned to site enhancement oils, specifically synthol, injecting it directly into his muscles to create an illusion of size. And for a while, his arms ballooned to cartoonish proportions, unlike anything seen before. The visual was shocking, to say the least. We're talking biceps that measured over 27 inches, a freakish size that looked less like muscle and more like something alien. He became known as the most hated man in bodybuilding by some, a spectacle, a walking example of excess. But beneath the surface of that controversial fame, a storm was brewing, quite literally, inside his own body. The substances he was using were a ticking time bomb. You see, synthol isn't muscle, it's an oil. It causes inflammation, scar tissue, and creates pockets of fluid. It doesn't make you stronger, it just makes you look inflated. And the risks? They're massive. Infection is a huge one, and that's exactly what caught up with Greg. His body started to reject the foreign substance, and one of his infamous biceps became severely infected. Imagine the pain, the fear. This wasn't just a setback in training, this was a life-threatening situation. The infection got so bad that his arm essentially exploded. He documented parts of it himself, trying to drain the pus, a gruesome sight that served as a stark warning. He ended up needing emergency surgery to save his arm and possibly his life. The images are graphic, a harsh reality check. The aftermath was a significant reduction in his arm size, permanent scarring, and a whole lot of reflection. Valentino himself has spoken about the experience, the regret, the realization that he pushed things way too far. He became a living example of what happens when the pursuit of size eclipses health, sanity, and the very essence of what bodybuilding should be about, strength and well-being. His story isn't just about synthol. It's about the mindset that leads someone down that path. The desire to be unique, to be the biggest, can be a powerful and sometimes dangerous motivator. It's a slippery slope when you start chasing artificial enhancements over genuine hard-earned muscle. The body has its limits, and when you try to cheat those limits with substances like these, the body will eventually fight back, often with devastating force. Greg Valentino's tale is a stark reminder that there are no shortcuts to true strength or a healthy physique. The pursuit of an extreme look through dangerous means can lead to irreversible damage, immense pain, and a legacy you never intended. It's a lesson in humility, a lesson in respecting your body, and a lesson in understanding that bigger isn't always better, especially when it's built on a foundation of risk. He survived, thankfully, and has since spoken out, sharing his experience, which takes a certain kind of courage. But the scars, both physical and mental, remain. His story forces us to ask, what is the true goal? Is it a fleeting, shocking image, or is it sustainable health and genuine strength? The answers should be clear, but sometimes they get lost in the noise. Let Greg Valentino's journey be a permanent exhibit in the Museum of Too Far. It underscores the dangers of taking extreme measures for aesthetic goals, particularly when those measures involve injecting foreign substances with no real physical benefit, only peril. It's a powerful narrative about the price of chasing an illusion, a very painful, very real price. All right, let's shift gears, but stay on this path of understanding extreme choices. We're talking about Rich Piana, a man who was incredibly open, almost shockingly so, about his use of steroids and other performance-enhancing drugs. His mantra was whatever it takes, and he lived that philosophy to the absolute fullest, building a massive physique and an even bigger online following. Rich wasn't shy. He laid it all out there, his cycles, his dosages, his belief that to be a top-tier bodybuilder, steroids were not just an option, but a necessity. This transparency was a double-edged sword. On one hand, some applauded his honesty in a sport often shrouded in secrecy. On the other, many worried he was glamorizing a dangerous lifestyle to a young, impressionable audience. His physique was undeniably colossal. He was a mountain of a man, and his dedication to training and eating was legendary. He pushed his body relentlessly, day in and day out. His 5% nation philosophy was about being in that top percentage of people willing to do whatever it takes to achieve their goals. And for Rich, that included decades of heavy steroid use, something he started in his teens. But whatever it takes often comes with a heavy invoice, one that your body eventually has to pay. Rich was open about some of the side effects, but perhaps not the full extent of the internal damage that was accumulating over years and years of pushing his system to the max. He projected an image of invincibility, of being larger than life. But the human body has its breaking point. Tragically, in August 2017, Rich Piana collapsed and was placed in a medically induced coma. 2 weeks later, he passed away at the age of 46. His death sent shockwaves through the fitness community. The official autopsy revealed significant health issues, including an enlarged heart and liver, common consequences of long-term high-dose steroid use. It was a stark and sudden end to a life lived at full throttle. The debate around his legacy continues. Was he a truth-teller, a maverick who exposed the realities of professional bodybuilding? Or was he a reckless influence who downplayed the severe risks? Perhaps he was a bit of both. He genuinely seemed to believe in what he was doing and was passionate about helping others achieve their size goals by his methods. But the outcome is undeniable. A life cut short. It serves as a powerful warning that even if you're open about using these substances, even if you think you're managing the risks, the long-term internal toll can be catastrophic and irreversible. The human body isn't designed to withstand that kind of pharmacological assault indefinitely. Rich Piana's story is a complex one. He inspired many with his intensity and his seemingly boundless energy. He built a successful business, a huge community. But the whatever it takes philosophy, when applied to substances that fundamentally alter your physiology in extreme ways, can lead you down a path from which there's no return. It's a sobering thought for anyone tempted by the promise of rapid, extreme results. We have to respect the drive, the dedication to a craft. But we also have to be brutally honest about the methods. When those methods involve knowingly damaging your health, you have to ask if the goal is worth the ultimate sacrifice. Is looking a certain way, or achieving a certain level of mass, worth years of your life, or life itself? Rich Piana's life and death are a testament to the fact that you can't out-train or out-diet the severe consequences of long-term extreme drug use. His story compels us to look beyond the stage presence, beyond the online persona, and consider the silent damage that can be happening inside. It's a call for a more sustainable, health-focused approach to fitness and bodybuilding. Now let's talk about a different kind of extreme one that's equally, if not more, dangerous. We're looking at the story of Andreas Munzer, an Austrian bodybuilder known for his almost unbelievable level of leanness and muscle definition. He was often called the man with no skin because his body fat was so incredibly low you could see every fiber, every striation of his muscles. Munzer's dedication to achieving this state of extreme conditioning was legendary. He was meticulous, obsessive even, about his diet, his training, and his use of a complex cocktail of drugs, including diuretics, insulin, growth hormone, and anabolic steroids. He wanted to present a physique on stage that was unparalleled in its sharpness and detail, and he pushed his body to the absolute edge to get there. For years, he competed at the highest levels, admired for his incredible conditioning. While he never won the Mr. Olympia title, his physique was always a standout, a benchmark for leanness. But this razor-sharp look came at a terrible hidden cost. He was essentially stripping his body of everything it needed to function, all in pursuit of that paper-thin skin look. The dehydration caused by extreme diuretic use, combined with the strain of other substances, was wreaking havoc on his internal organs. He was living on a knife's edge, a delicate balance that could tip at any moment. And in March 1996, after complaining of severe stomach pains for months, that balance was shattered. Andreas was admitted to the hospital. Doctors found his liver was riddled with tumors the size of ping-pong balls, and half of it had disintegrated. His electrolytes were completely out of balance. His potassium levels dangerously high. He was bleeding internally. Despite emergency surgery to stop the bleeding from his stomach, his kidneys and liver failed. He died at the age of 31. The autopsy report was horrifying. It detailed a physique with almost zero subcutaneous fat, an extremely muscular build, but also a complete failure of multiple organ systems. His heart was enlarged, his liver was a wreck. Traces of around 20 different drugs were found. It was a direct consequence of years of extreme dieting, dehydration, and a massive intake of performance-enhancing and cutting agents. Munzer's death was a profound shock to the bodybuilding world. It highlighted the silent dangers of chasing extreme leanness, particularly the abuse of diuretics. It wasn't just about building muscle. It was about stripping the body down to a level that was simply unsustainable and life-threatening. His story is a tragic reminder that the pursuit of an aesthetic, no matter how admired or rewarded in competition, should never come at the expense of life itself. The human body needs a certain amount of fat to function, to protect organs, to regulate hormones. Pushing far below those essential levels, especially with the help of dangerous drugs, is a gamble with the highest stakes. Andreas Munzer was known for his discipline, his work ethic, his quiet determination. He did what he thought was necessary to achieve the look that the sport at that time seemed to reward. But the sport and the athletes themselves learned a harsh lesson from his passing. It forced a re-evaluation of what conditioning should truly mean. His legacy is a somber one. It's a warning etched in the annals of bodybuilding history about the dark side of extreme dieting and drug use. It's about understanding that the quest for perfection can become a fatal obsession if not tempered with knowledge, caution, and an unwavering respect for the body's intrinsic needs. He achieved an otherworldly look, but the price was his world. All right, let's talk about a legend. A man who redefined mass and strength in bodybuilding. 8-time Mr. Olympia, Ronnie Coleman. Yeah, buddy, lightweight, baby. His catchphrases are iconic, his lifts were superhuman, and his physique was, for many years, unbeatable. He is, without a doubt, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, bodybuilder of all time. Ronnie's work ethic was off the charts. He trained with an intensity that few could comprehend, let alone replicate, lifting colossal amounts of weight, pushing his body to its absolute limits and then beyond. Squatting 800 pounds, deadlifting 800 pounds, bench pressing 500 pounds for reps. These weren't just numbers, they were testaments to his incredible power and dedication. He built a physique that was a marvel of size, symmetry and conditioning. He dominated the Mr. Olympia stage for 8 consecutive years, from 1998 to 2005, a reign of pure power. He loved what he did, he loved training heavy, and he loved being the king. And the world loved watching him. He was an inspiration to millions, embodying the idea that with hard work anything is possible. But that kind of relentless, extreme training, lifting weights that would crush mere mortals, year after year, decade after decade, takes an incredible toll on the human frame. The iron doesn't care if you're Mr. Olympia, it still exerts its force, and your joints, your spine, your connective tissues absorb that impact. Ronnie knew the risks, or at least he accepted them as part of the journey to greatness. Over the years, the injuries mounted. Multiple herniated discs, hip issues, shoulder problems. Ronnie has undergone numerous surgeries, back surgeries, hip replacements, neck surgeries. We're talking over a dozen major operations to try and fix the damage accumulated from his legendary training sessions. The pain became a constant companion. He's been incredibly open about his struggles. Sharing his journey through surgeries and rehabilitation on social media and in documentaries, we've seen him go from lifting astronomical weights to struggling to walk. It's a stark contrast, a powerful and often heartbreaking illustration of the price he paid for his unparalleled success. He has said he has no regrets, that he'd do it all over again, and to be the best. That's his warrior spirit, but for us looking on, it's a profound lesson. It's a testament to his incredible willpower, but also a clear demonstration that even the strongest bodies have their limits. The pursuit of being the absolute biggest and strongest, while awe-inspiring, can lead to a future where basic mobility is a challenge. It forces a question. What is the long-term cost of that glory? Ronnie Coleman's story is not one of drug abuse in the same vein as some others we've discussed, though PEDs were part of the top-tier bodybuilding equation. His primary too far was the sheer, unadulterated, bone-crushing weight he moved and the relentless pounding his body endured. He pushed the boundaries of human strength and in doing so pushed his own body past its structural breaking point. Today, Ronnie continues to inspire with his resilience and positive attitude despite his physical limitations. He's still involved in the fitness world, still a beloved figure, but his physical condition serves as a living reminder that the path to becoming a legend can be paved with sacrifices that last a lifetime. It's a story of triumph, yes, but also one of significant, enduring consequence. We honor his achievements, his incredible strength, and his indomitable spirit. But we also must learn from the physical toll his journey took. It encourages us to think about longevity in strength sports, about training smart as well as hard, and about listening to our bodies before the whispers turn into screams and then into the need for a surgeon's scalpel. His reign was glorious, but the aftermath is a heavy burden to bear. Now we take a turn into a story that's not just about physical extremes, but about how the pressures and environment of bodybuilding, combined with other volatile elements, can lead to an unimaginable tragedy. We're talking about Sally McNeil, a professional female bodybuilder in the 90s, whose nickname Killer Sally took on a chilling reality. Sally was a force to be reckoned with in the world of female bodybuilding. She was strong, muscular, a former Marine with an intense competitive drive. She and her husband, Ray McNeil, were both competitive bodybuilders. Their lives revolved around the gym, the diet, the discipline, and like many in that era, the use of anabolic steroids to enhance their physiques and performance. Their relationship, however, was reportedly tumultuous, filled with arguments, jealousy, and allegations of domestic abuse from both sides. The pressures of the sport, the financial struggles, and the side effects of steroid use, including increased aggression, often referred to as roid rage, likely created a powder keg environment in their home. This isn't an excuse, but it's part of the complex picture. On Valentine's Day, 1995, the situation exploded. During a violent confrontation, Sally McNeil shot her husband Ray twice with a shotgun, killing him. Her defense claimed self-defense, that she was a battered wife acting to save her own life after years of abuse and in fear of an imminent attack. The prosecution painted her as a jealous, aggressive bodybuilder who intentionally murdered her husband. The trial was a media sensation, focusing on her physique, her steroid use, and the volatile nature of their relationship. The image of this incredibly muscular woman accused of murder captivated and, in some ways, horrified the public. It played into stereotypes about muscular women and the effects of steroids, complicating the narrative of domestic abuse. Sally McNeil was ultimately convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 19 years to life in prison. She served 25 years before being granted parole in 2020. Her story is a dark and complex chapter in the history of bodybuilding, one that goes far beyond the gym and the stage. It's a story about how the pursuit of physical perfection can intersect with personal demons and lead to devastating consequences. This isn't just about the physical toll of bodybuilding, but the psychological and emotional pressures as well. The constant drive to be bigger, stronger, leaner, the financial strains, the impact of performance-enhancing drugs on mood and aggression. All these factors can create an incredibly stressful environment. For the McNeils, that environment became lethal. Sally's case forces us to look at the culture surrounding bodybuilding, particularly in that era. Were there enough support systems? Was the impact of steroids on mental health and behavior fully understood or acknowledged? Her story is a tragic intersection of ambition, alleged abuse, substance use, and violence. It's a stark reminder that the people we see on stage, these incredible athletes, are still human beings dealing with complex lives, relationships, and internal struggles. The pursuit of extremity in one area of life can sometimes spill over and exacerbate problems in others with catastrophic results. Sally McNeil's life is a testament to that. Her story is a somber warning about the potential for aggression linked to steroid use, the devastating impact of domestic violence, and how the quest for physical dominance can sometimes obscure or even contribute to a deeply troubled personal life. It's a tragedy with no real winners, only loss and lives irrevocably changed. It is the ultimate example of things going way, way too far. All right, we've been through some intense stories today, stories of incredible dedication pushed to heartbreaking and sometimes horrifying extremes. It's clear that the drive to be the best, to achieve a certain look or level of strength, can be a powerful force. But as we've seen, when that drive isn't balanced with wisdom, health, and a profound respect for the body's limits, the consequences can be devastating, far-reaching, and irreversible. The world of bodybuilding and fitness in general should be about empowerment, about building a stronger, healthier version of yourself. It's about discipline, yes, but it's also about longevity and well-being. These stories serve as crucial reminders that there are no shortcuts that don't come with a hefty price, often paid by your health, your future, or even your life. The pursuit of extremity can lead you down a dangerous road, far from the wellness you initially sought. So, what's the takeaway? It's about finding that healthy ambition, set those goals, push yourself, strive for greatness, absolutely, but do it smart. Do it with knowledge, listen to your body, fuel it correctly, and understand that true strength isn't just about the size of your muscles or the weight on the bar. It's about building a resilient, healthy foundation that will support you for a lifetime. Focus on progress, not perfection at any cost. Stay healthy, stay strong, and make choices that honor the incredible machine that is your body.